Hi
everyone.
everyone!
We're Future Values, and this is our piece, Alumni 2035. As a group, we share the critical concern of subverting present value systems, from how we perceive, use, and discard everyday objects.
How we approach the inclusion of minority groups in design and decision making.
And to the way we understand spatial practice itself, questioning how far we can take the idea of embedded practice. We imagine a world where positive system change has started to happen and consider where our agency lies in contributing to it. Hope you all enjoy.
Actually on time for once. Hey guys, do you mind if we turn off the extractor fan for a few minutes? I just need to jump on a call. Thanks. Anya, Mike, do you want to see what materials they got done at 26E?
Okay, we are going to get coffee after that. Is that okay?
Okay, I'll come meet you after, and let's go have lunch. Wonder what they've been up to. Wonder if they're still on a mission to subvert the values we campaign for as students.
It's oddly quiet in here today, except for the mice, of course. There are some parts of cohabiting with the non-human that I just find really difficult to adjust to. Maybe we should get another studio cat. Or is that hypocritical? The ceiling is looking a bit wobbly too. It's all quite precarious. I wonder how Dara and Tim have managed it.
Becca, your mic's off.
A joke never gets old, does it?
Yeah, and then Janky's holding a photo embroidery session on the community street, so I'm going to go to that tomorrow.
Yes, that sounded very exciting. I'll meet you there.
Okay, yeah, I'll see you there. I'm just going to jump on a call.
See you.
Okay, bye. Hey guys, it's been so long.
Hi!
Hey, how are you?
I'm good, how are you?
I'm
Not too
good.
bad.
It's great to see where you both are. Dara, I love that quilt behind you.
Oh, this is actually from an engagement activity we did here.
All right.
Yeah, Jyoti, she's actually behind me right now.
Hello.
Hey.
Hiya.
Yeah, so she was the one who came up with the idea. Lots of the community have come up with so many great ideas for workshops. We're moving out of here soon. I wanted to take it with me, but I don't think they're going to let me.
Oh, where are you going?
We just got commissioned for a residency in Newham, so I'm going to be doing lots of engagement work there.
Yeah, you always thought you enjoyed that.
Yeah, we held loads of activities here as well, but it actually was quite difficult.
Did you find it was hard to include something for everyone?
Yeah, it was, and I guess because we kept the community involved from the beginning, they were quite understanding of what was going on, so they were quite open to like to working with us, but there was still a lot of conflict.
Yeah, I can relate to that. But how's it going now?
Well, you know, it takes a long time to build trust, but the council have made early engagement a requirement now, so that's a win.
That's great news.
Yeah, we're trying to keep that going. We made that room behind me a discussion space that's open to the whole neighbourhood, even though it's physically part of the new housing.
Yeah, it sounds great and I'd love to visit.
Sure, I'm sure Jyoti wouldn't mind. She's become quite good at giving tours now.
Are there members of the group that get involved with the council now? I think you said there was a disconnect before.
Yeah, so some of the ladies have become part of a local committee. So we were lucky that the council kind of wanted that anyway, and we piggybacked off of the work that they'd already done.
That sounds great, Dara. I still work from home quite a lot, but I'm joining you here from the shared project studios in Somerstown today. It's a bit similar to your space. And Tim, you probably remember coming to look around in the early days.
Yeah, definitely. Good times.
Yeah, we'd only just started to occupy the units back then. And the laundry was open too, of course. You can see now nearly all of the ground floor units are shared. And there's a huge mess behind me. Just been reviewing some plans with the residents.
Mess is good.
Yeah, mine isn't much different.
Not to apologise, the untidy space.
Oh, by the way, what are the plans for?
So some of the cross-generation care programmes and the co-housing are oversubscribed. We're looking at expansion options.
Nice.
Yeah, I know, we've been offered a great site within the abandoned HS2 complex. It is a lot of work, and of course we need to consider the impact of non-human life that has found a home there.
I'm sure they
Care and Maintenance Collective.
would love to take it on to finally reclaim that space.
Hello, my shift doesn't start yet, does it?
No, we're just going to look at the ceiling.
Oh, okay, that's fine. Tim, where are you working from now?
Do you remember that site in Kentish Town that I proposed alternative waste infrastructure for back at uni?
Yeah, we took some wardrobes there last week.
Well, long story short, I now work there, or at least part-time currently.
Oh, I hadn't realised.
Yeah, after we won the tender to help design the new neighbourhood, a few of the local repair networks needed some help securing tenancies for workshop space. We fitted out most of them by now, but there's still a couple to set out on site. Oh wait, 1 second.
I've just got these drawings through from the contractors. Do you mind having a look over them?
Thanks. I'll mark these up for you and get them back in an hour or so.
Thanks. Are you coming to the Material Exchange Festival tomorrow morning?
Yeah, of course. I'll see you then. Anyway, what was I saying? Oh yeah, it's been pretty manic in here these last few weeks.
Yeah, it seemed it. It took a while to organise this call.
I know, I'm sorry. Been really busy. I mean, as well as fitting out the rest of the workshops, we've been given a contract to supply refurbished furniture for some of the new flats and houses in the development.
So do you just find materials you need nearby?
Yeah, on the whole, but if we're looking for anything in particular, we put a call out on the wider network to see if it's been salvaged elsewhere. It's messy stuff, but the results have been great so far.
That's super nice, Tim. It's actually so good to have seen all of our projects from the beginning. Remember that Civic Bang video you made, Rebecca? I always think of it when I pick up a bottle of Flash.
Yeah, we actually still have loads of bottles around the studio. We just use them for cleaning. It all started with Civic Bang. I was trying to think about what would happen if these domestic tasks moved out into the public realm. We started by cleaning bollards and pollution monitors, sweeping leaves and scrubbing paving, questioning what we consider worthy of cleaning and who should be cleaning it. I actually didn't do that much performative work in the end because of COVID, really.
I remember you made those tea towels though. How did they come about?
Oh yeah, we still use those too. We produced them with local groups to celebrate the centenary of some of the estates. We made so many, one for every kitchen or tea point in Somerstown. Basically, just put one next to anything we could find.
That's a lot of tea towels.
Yeah, they were made with their local group and they wanted to talk about housing history, and questions of domestic labour fitted in quite well.
You know, with my own work, I've found it so hard to change people's perspectives on domestic labour. Is that what you were trying to do?
Yeah, in a way, because they were all made, distributed, used, and even laundered collectively in the original laundry bank. But I don't know that everyone who got one would have picked up on the underlying values.
Is the laundry bag still there? It was installed in a parking space, wasn't it? Connected to all those fountains.
Yeah, and the water was reused in play features that summer. I think it must have been 2021. There were so many technical issues, people got soaked. It did get a lot safer though, and it really took off the following year.
I read about that. I'm surprised it didn't shut the whole project down.
Well, everyone was quite forgiving. It's standard with all the laundry rooms here now. The wastewater is directed to another use like play, gardens, or to the new public toilets.
Oh, was that proposal part of your MA work? Because my mum saw the drawings at our final showcase. I think she was thinking it was so weird, but she couldn't stop talking about it.
That's nice. I just thought there had to be some joy in it somehow. It couldn't just be people queuing up to use a communal washing machine. Did you find that helped when you first started? It must have been hard when we first graduated. We were still coming in and out of lockdown for years.
Yeah, the Rangoli reminds me about how long it took to connect with people. I keep it on my wall as a reminder.
It was particularly hard to engage with South Asian homemakers because their days were scheduled around their families and the questions I was asking were personal topics. It's not something they would typically discuss with a new person. The thoughts of other experiences of domestic labour written on the street, I think, really helped to gather quick initial thoughts because it gave them something to relate to. There were so many similarities: boredom, routine, disconnection from their hometown.
I still feel slightly out of place, like they didn't want anything to do with what we were doing. But it was more to do with trust and opening up, I guess.
Yeah, I had a few worries like that myself when I started. I was just concerned about imposing ideas that people don't want anything to do with.
Yeah, but the value is in giving time and attention to the work anyway. Even if most people weren't so keen, I think it helped to make the alternatives visual and joyful.
Yeah, I definitely agree, Dara. There's definitely value in that. But it takes time to shift people's perceptions around most of the work we do. I mean, I know from my experience, I'm still struggling against current waste cultures. It's often a lot easier, just to not challenge the status quo. It also didn't help that after graduating, I couldn't get involved in person for at least a year. I mean, until the lockdown restrictions were finally relaxed.
That's right, because you weren't involved full time at the beginning, were you?
No, but I mean, I got a great opportunity not long after, volunteering 1 or 2 days a week, helping out some of the residents in Kentish Town set up a community resource recovery centre, kind of like the Loops in Hackney.
Oh, yeah, I know that project.
Thanks to you, Becca, we managed to secure a temporary lease for a space in Somerstown where we found a permanent home. Thanks for that.
That was over 10 years ago.
I know, it was such a good couple of years helping out there though. Learned a lot about the problems we're trying to combat our waste cultures, and also gained some pretty useful skills.
Sounds like we've all been doing a lot of collaborative work. I can't believe we had to do so much of it on our own in uni. How did we survive?
I mean, it wasn't how I wanted to work at all. It was so hard to work together remotely and collaborate with other people.
Yeah, I resonate with that, Becca. I definitely feel like it's hard to break out of though.
When we couldn't go to site, I started looking at other ways of engaging. I've still got the original pollution poster I made using live air quality data and a bit of coding. I still can't believe how high pollution levels were back then.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like people didn't know about these issues before.
Yeah, I guess those few years were when our value systems really started to change.
Yeah, it was really the legislative changes that had just begun when we graduated that started to have an effect on this stuff. It became impossible to keep housing people alongside polluted areas or keep polluting where people were housed.
And that only happened because of people who lost their kids, taking the government to courts to secure the right to clean air again and again.
Yeah, I mean, developers can still get away with it though. Every now and again, you do read a story exposing someone who's been selected with data. It's a bit corrupt.
Yeah.
Just like viability assessments used to be. What happened to the posters?
That's why transparency is so important, I guess. And we know so much about what's going on now. Those visualizations I produced were really just a resource to engage not just with residents, but with people working and passing through Somerstown.
What sort of things did you do with them?
Well, I just shared the visuals and made open source code. It opened a conversation and the council went on to make a deal with Google. They got workshops going with local schools and youth groups.
Oh, did they actually contribute?
I don't know the details of the arrangement, but I see the groups out and about still, collecting data. The pollution levels have gone down and people seem to be more conscious of it. I suppose there was something in it for the corporations, but it got the staff involved in the area on a human level, and I think that makes some difference.
But the lockdown work did end up being useful, right?
Yes, and occasionally I still do a few visuals for clients, but it's more of a hobby now. Did you find any of your socially distant engagement work useful? In the long run, I mean.
Yeah, so the Rangoli helped to widen connections with South Asian homemakers and also got the attention of the engagement team at Leicester City Council.
Oh, how did that work?
Well, the funded workshops were led by a lot of the women and locals, and my team started to incorporate conversations around neighbourhood safety, housing provision, and social infrastructure. We made an engagement guide from that, which we recently gave to the local housing associations.
That's interesting. When was that?
Around April, we've got nominated for an engagement award by Sound Advice too.
Oh, that's so
nice.
great. Yeah.
Thanks, guys. We always keep the latest copy in that room as well. The council used to make everything available online, but we realised it wasn't accessible. So we keep it in there for the community to look over and comment on.
Hi, Dara.
Hey, these are some of my friends from uni.
Hi, guys. Nice to meet you. Dara, I'm just going to the workshop.
Yeah, sure. Okay, I'll see you later then. Bye.
Bye, it was nice to meet you.
Jada's part of the local committee. She's always busy with workshops.
All right.
Hey.
Hello, is Joala back?
Yeah, she's just gone into the workshop.
Oh, what is she doing there?
She's not going to turn into a man. We talked about this.
Okay, I'll go home and get the food ready then.
You'll get used to it. Haven't been able to change everything quite yet, guys. This and connecting people outside of religious groups has been difficult.
What happened?
Well, religious communities were more established than non-religious ones, and so there was just a lot of tension and opposition for council funding to go towards spaces for women or wider communities.
All right.
Yeah, but the council agreed that there were wider benefits to providing spaces, keeping women in mind. So as you can see, we've been able to do it anyway. The high street is still in progress though. It's getting quite popular actually. We renamed it the Community Street.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, we've been holding street workshops. One was like the sort of project you did, Rebecca.
Reclaim public space, you mean?
Yeah, we were trying to get people to think about how to make the high street more of a place to stop and connect than just buy groceries, especially for homemakers. So we've designed some in-between spaces to break the street up. In the summer, it looks a lot like the street markets in India.
That sounds really interesting. And actually going back to what you said just now, I've also found it true that work with marginalised groups always has a wider benefit, but it does attract criticism.
Have you found that in your work?
Yeah, there were a lot of confrontations early on when Care and Maintenance Collective was set up.
Oh, really?
Yeah, protests and everything. What started as a skills exchange eventually led to residents wanting in-house maintenance facilities.
What, like spaces or actual jobs?
Well, both.
It's quite a socially empowering move, Becca. Probably has some people worried.
Yeah, and most of the housing providers still outsource that kind of work. Ending that practice, it took a lot of convincing. It was the finances that won them over, of course, but the real value was elsewhere.
It's not so different from how the estates were originally envisioned, though, is it?
Well, exactly. On the oldest estates, they all had in-house maintenance teams.
Yeah, I remember reading about Irene Barclay, I think her name was. She was involved in setting this up, right?
Yeah, and the scheme was influenced by her, even though the gender balance in those early workshops was a bit different.
And some people are still struggling with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. It hasn't been plain sailing at all. We've also had a bit of a setback with securing tenancies for more resident-led workshops.
Like the one you're working in now?
Yeah, more spaces like this in the development. To help Camden improve their waste infrastructure within the circular economy, we propose incorporating these spaces into everyday places, which requires a lot less space and raises awareness of the way we treat our things.
That's actually a really good idea.
Yeah, I mean, the council's idea was to make a huge closed-off facility on the edge of the borough.
Oh, but what's the point of that? It's so sad that waste is still seen as an unwanted resource. How are we ever going to change consumption if we don't deal with the consequences in a more personal way?
Yeah, my thoughts exactly. But the council wobbled on the position to back us. So we had to find, other funds quite quickly for the initiative. It's been such a nightmare, but I think we found some backing now, at least for the next 2 workshops or so, to get fully fitted out and operational. Oh, guys, you remember this poster over here?
Can you bring it closer? I can't see.
Sure, 1 second. This was from the Design to Dismantle campaign, or maybe like 5 years ago now. That's gone quickly.
Yeah, it really has.
Yeah, we raised awareness to the problems of taking furniture apart. This poster was part of the exhibition we did at Somerset House with Makerversity.
Oh yeah, that's right, just before my triplets were born. Correction, our triplets, courtesy of a shared care agreement between multiple persons. All expenses are covered by the state.
Mine too.
Yeah, we had a really positive response though from a lot of people, but we did get some grief from designers, saying it restricts creativity or whatever. I just think they couldn't be bothered to change their methods of production. It means they can't maximize their profits.
Have things changed a bit now though?
Yeah, I think so. I think most manufacturers are coming around to the idea. Since the government increased landfill tax and introduced penalties for not working within a circular economy, it's certainly making our lives a lot easier at repurposing bulky waste. Sounds like we're all pro now, guys.
Yeah, Ulrika did say that 14 years isn't very long to actually change value systems.
No, but we are getting there though.
Guys, you should come down to Leicester. We're doing a Rangoli art piece next month for Diwali.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. It'd be great to get out of London sometime.
Yeah, I'd really love to come and see you all, but it's getting a bit hectic in here, so I think I need to head out now.
Yeah, I know what you mean, actually.
Yeah, I didn't notice until you said that. All right then, guys. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you in a moment in the live Q&A.
Turning my mic
Where's
on.
Tim?
Tim's here.
Oh, I can't see him.
I think we're about to go on.
I think we're live.
Yes, we're live. I just need to. We're not live. We are going to be in a minute, and my screen's not big. Yeah, you're live.
We're live. I can see us.
Oh my god.
Hi everyone. I hope you all enjoyed that. We can have a quick Q&A, maybe for 10 minutes or so. If anyone's got any questions, that'd be great. And we'll try and answer them best we can.
Nadia, I can't
Maybe, Dara, if you want to read out a question from
remember
Jake,
how to do it.
I
I'm
think.
panicking. Can you come and help me?
Yeah, Jake's asking, when reflecting on your future practice in 2035, what do you feel is most important to act on now,
I'm fine,
or
I'm
what
fine,
do you
I'm
want
fine.
to challenge next on your project? That's a lot.
I guess I can start trying to answer that. I guess what was quite important about this piece was all our kind of work for this point in our thesis has been about kind of, quite future forecasting and kind of, wide system change. It's been really useful to kind of map out our timeline from now to 2035. So I guess our more immediate steps could be some of the more interventions that we started talking about in our pieces. For instance, like Dara was talking about perhaps, contacting Leicester Council as kind of a first immediate move. Maybe you want to talk about that more, Dara?
Yeah, I think this was kind of a response to being stuck and not being able to connect to much people because of the lockdown. And so it was easier for us to imagine what would happen if those interactions did happen. And so I think the first thing to do would be to start to try and flesh out how those interactions would start to happen. So through this, I started emailing some of the members of the council and started to get more information about their engagement with women so far. Yeah, so I guess that's my main thing. I don't know if you want to talk about yours, Rebecca. Or...
Yeah, I think it's also about deciding on how we're going to take it in the next part of term and also afterwards. And I suppose having gone from being sort of partly back in the real world to then back online again, it was thinking, how can we still reach audiences that we want to?
even though we might not be able to be there in person. So it was kind of a way to think through some of those strategies as well.
And then maybe a question from Kate.
Yeah, so do you think your characters had rose-tinted glasses on? I'm curious how the lens of the future might have affected your view of the present.
I mean, yeah, I definitely think we had rose-tinted glasses on. It was very much an optimistic future of, mainly our ambitions of how we want to work as practitioners, I think, was really what we're trying to convey. An idea of a much more integrated form of practice where, when you do a project, you kind of really integrate yourselves with the community and the work you do there, and it's kind of a long-term kind of, project and piece of work. It's not kind of defined by Reaper status per se. So I definitely think that was kind of what we're trying to convey. And the next part of it, I'm curious in how the lens future might affect the present.
I think on the first part, while you think of your answer, Tim, it was also we're trying to get across that we knew that's kind of precarious, this good version of the future that we're thinking of by having kind of these things going wrong in the background. The idea behind that was trying to hint at that it's not all going to be kind of easy, and there are a lot of things that it depends on. So it's not all going to work out unless we kind of figure out all the things that could go wrong. So that was what kind of the wobbling ceiling and the things kind of happening in the background that hadn't quite gone to plan. And maybe our characters didn't see it, but through, as the viewers, we could see that it wasn't quite as stable as maybe we were presenting it as.
Yeah, I think if we were tied down too much by what we know is already true of our present, then it's hard to present anything new. So it was sort of trying to take the information that we already had and then manipulating it to try and create the future that we wanted, to then try and make some steps, try and make some steps to try and create that future that we want, which is quite hard.
Yeah, I think kind of because it's more like a two-part question, maybe Digital Youth 2020 and Tom Dyke will be answered together. So I'm curious about your process, is what Digital Youth's asking, and then Tom's asking, how did you find collaborating on the film, given you're all working on individual projects? Might you weave this kind of presentation into your practice? Yeah, I guess our process has been really fun to do. It's definitely a medium that I personally haven't worked with at all. I think Dara's maybe dabbled in kind of role play and script writing as part of her work before. But I think we really wanted to come together to do something that we've never really done before, and really kind of break away from the mediums we're used to in a lot of ways. Maybe someone else wants to expand on that.
I think it was really enjoyable because we weren't so focused on the nitty-gritty of it. We were just trying to make it fun and figuring out how it would be accessible to people who aren't also from the profession. So trying to make it fun for other people to watch as well. So that was quite interesting. And yeah, I think definitely I would want to do this sort of presentation in the future. I think it helps you to step out of your individual project a lot.
I think it was a really useful tool as well to imagine our system change in our individual projects in a kind of a world where they all coexist together, where system change isn't happening in one particular area, but it's happening across the board. Say, for instance, in 3 different areas. And I think that was really useful as kind of a driving force for our piece as well, is imagining a kind of a wider world of system change. And I think that's really a really crucial part of our collaboration, I think. Guess we can move on to the next question. Maybe from,
Andrea?
Yeah.
In future, where do you want your impact to be? Mainly on the local, or is this the most important for you?
I guess I can start with from my perspective. I think as well, this probably speaks for both of you as well. Trying to change the local in kind of an active way, I think, can have a larger kind of a larger effect and a larger kind of like impact. So it's almost like starting on a local kind of schemes, but then you could see how this could extrapolate across the system to kind of change kind of wider thinking around certain issues.
Yeah, I think it helps to develop tools if we're doing it on a local level that we can then apply to wider or larger scales.
And I also think it's about, sorry, Dara. No. I think it's about, we're trying to think about our own practice as well and how we might want to live. And I think the idea appealed to me of actually, if you are maybe it wouldn't work out that all your projects happen exactly where you live, but if you were able to somehow embed parts of your daily life within the work you're doing, that would be appealing. But I suppose it is kind of maybe something we're all grappling with at the moment. So it's maybe not worked out yet exactly how we'd want to operate in that way, whether we'd want to be kind of obviously addressing global issues, but how we do that I think is something we're all still working out.
Yeah. Is there any more questions?
I had a question come through privately of, are we still fumbling in 2035? I think probably, yeah.
Yeah, definitely always fumbling in 2035.
I got a question from Lois. Did you consider the fact that you're still in contact with each other, as in you value the MArch as a foundation/continuum of your practices? Yes. I think we talked, I think Tim and Rebecca especially, because their sites are quite close to each other, they were talking about how they saw each other's projects develop, which was quite interesting for me to see, because I was thinking about me being in Leicester, still having connections with their work was quite interesting. I don't know if that made sense.
Yeah, but I think it also was happening kind of in the background. So Tim yesterday was talking about mastic joints, but it's so boring. But then it was like the boring stuff of like what it's like working in practice, and kind of he had some questions from his boss, and I was like, oh yeah, well when we did that, this happened or something. And it's kind of like those things are kind of happening now already. So I don't see why they would stop going forward.
If there's no more questions, we can end it here.
Yeah, I don't see any more on YouTube unless...
Cool. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Yes, thank you for joining and persevering with the... Liza had a question earlier. I just see? I can't see it. I see a comment.
There was a question from Liza earlier.
It was a comment. Your success in making a multi-channel presentation might be a way for you to each develop your thesis, i.e. the pragmatic and the ideas and the unplanned, the modest and the what if.
Should we just smile and nod?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's good. It's going to have to be anyway. Sorry, Liza. I find it really hard to keep up with looking at two things at once. I don't know if I can carry on this way for much longer. But yes.
Yeah, maybe it's one of those questions to take away with us, I think. Something to reflect on, I think, as we kind of go into the next step. Great. Maybe we end it here then.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you everyone for watching.
Thanks, everyone.
We hope you enjoyed it.
Bye.
See you guys.
I haven't ended yet. Everyone's going to hear this. That's my window. Okay, bye.
shit. That's actually hard, you know. Answering questions.
I'm ending the
and
stream
doing
now.
that
I'm
and
leaving
doing
the
that.
ocean. I'm just ending this.
Where's Tim gone? Did you leave?